This morning, I'm very pleased to introduce Miss Annette Bajema and her best student paper. Annette is from McKinney, Texas, and is a senior here at the College of Architecture. She graduates in December with her Bachelor of Science in Architecture, along with a very impressive minor in harp performance. Having taught Annette in multiple courses, I know that she's an outstanding and dedicated student. Her great involvement in the life of our college extends to her position as resident advisor for the architecture and design learning community. This is a specialized university residence for architecture and design students, where Annette serves as sort of a house marm and also a mentor to some of our lower classmen who live there. This spring, Annette begins our Master of Architecture program, and she will pursue her dual Master of Business Administration at the Rawls College of Business. So let us welcome Annette Bajema speaking on the Bahrain World Trade Center, a paper she initially wrote for the course Contemporary Issues in Architecture. Annette?
Thank you, Professor Zuge. Good morning, my name is Annette Bajema, and today I was asked to present my essay on the Bahrain World Trade Center as an experimentation in emerging new technologies in wind energy and the skyscraper. Starting at the turn of the century, the skyscraper has stood as an American symbol of progress. Inspiring the relationship between technology and architecture, the Bahrain World Trade Center is the evolution of the concepts that built the very early skyscrapers and continue to inspire skyscraper design today. As we reach forward to design the style of our generation, to leave the decoration and practices of the past behind us, we reach out to the world of science as one of the guiding lights into the future, not only of technology, but of architecture as well. Many new approaches to the building and materials has been influenced by the advances in technology, such as solar panels, tinted glass, concrete, and the ability to create organic, specialized shapes that are limited only by the flexibility of our imagination. The Bahrain World Trade Center reaches for the future of architecture by integrating innovative science with a highly developed form to create a design that not only provides for the needs of the dweller, but also makes a bold statement about the belief of the builder. Here's one of the clearest modern examples of the fusion of architecture and science as we boldly search for the next step in the architectural expansion of our generation. The main towers of the Bahrain World Trade Center rise up from the edge of the Arabian Gulf, one petal-like shape fitting into the next, unfolding towards the sky as if it were a bird of paradise made of glass, stone, and steel. These majestic towers are situated on top of a 3-story podium that houses a mall made up of 200 boutique stores and restaurants. The space was originally a mall and hotel that had been built over 30 years ago and served as a launching point for a renovation that developed into iconic reconstruction. The renovation was done in a spirit of conservation and a desire for a low carbon footprint as are the towers. So there are many green spaces scattered among the stores and extensive use of green techniques throughout the base. The designers maintained the same level of attention to the environment as they developed and approached the two towers of the Bahrain World Trade Center. In fact, they are digitally designed especially to channel the breezes that come off the Arabian Gulf and increase the airflow between the two towers and the placement of the turbines between these two towers, through the use of the conceptual flow dynamics. The overall massing of the towers begin to act as an airfoil as they taper to a point and resemble a ship's sail in massing. Each tower is composed of 3 main petal-like shapes that rise out of one another. First is a wider, more solid, and has a modern office building approach to the facade. The second petal rises out of the first and has clearly framed curtain walls in a beautiful white stone. Finally, behind the second and first petals rise a tall, slender petal made completely out of glass and steel diagrid that tapers to a graceful point high above the Manama skyline. The unifying elements between these sister towers are the 3 pedestrian bridges that support a large air turbines. In order to accommodate for the movement of the wind turbines, the bridges are fixed at one end and have sliding bearings at the other. The most distinguishing and highly praised feature of the Bahrain World Trade Center is the 3 wind turbines that are mounted onto the pedestrian bridges. These turbines serve as an icon of alternative energy in the East. This open use of wind power in an area that earns its income through fossil fuels is a strong statement of where they believe the future of energy is going. Each of these turbines is placed to take advantage of the ocean's breezes. The tapered shape of the tower channels the ocean breezes into the wind turbines, making them much more efficient by creating an S airflow that generates a 45-degree wind angle at each side of the main axis of the towers. By using turbines that could be bought off the shelf, the project cost was kept down and made the integration of current wind energy technology much more affordable. The idea of incorporating wind energy into a building system has been around before the design of the Bahrain World Trade Center. We have seen the humble beginnings of the experimentation of wind turbines on buildings in the Blue Sea Development Company buildings in New York City. Instead of incorporating the wind turbines into the building, they were added on later as an addition to a pre-existing building. There are 10 wind turbines mounted to the roof, rated at 1 kilowatt each. There are a few drawbacks to using these small-scale wind turbines, such as these. The amount of power generated by the wind turbines is greatly affected by their size and height, which determines their ability to reach the air currents necessary to reach their full capacity. So, while the use of smaller wind turbines proved to be beneficial, it was clear that these advancements could be made to turn this small experiment into a much larger source of energy. Other projects include wind turbines and their design in different ways. One of these projects is the Razor, also known as the Strada Tower in London, built by BFLS and completed in 2010. The tall rectangular massing is clad in aluminum, dark glass, and steel, and then topped with a crown that has 3 large wind turbines built into it. Along with the innovative ideas, a unique shape came local criticism, and it won the Carbuncle Cup, earning the title of the ugliest new building in Britain in 2010. So there you have a building that pushed the limits of wind energy integration, or the function of the building, and gave little thought to the aesthetic effect it would have on the city around it, or the form of the building. As technology developed and the concepts of alternative energy became a more desirable feature, we see new designs that are beginning to incorporate the use of wind turbines into the very core and shape of the building. One of the most well-known examples of this is the firm Dynamic Architecture, headed by David Fisher. These kinetic designs bring wind energy directly into the core of the building and generate a power necessary to allow each level of the building to rotate individually. Currently, they are working on a residence tower in Dubai called Times Residence. This building would serve mainly as apartment-style living, providing an eco-friendly environment that addresses all of the dwellers' needs and preferences. As each apartment can be tailored down to the exact textiles and materials used in the space. They combine the use of wind power with solar power by adding solar panels on the roof of the building in order to capture all the power that the site has to offer in a way that does not harm the environment. Another project that has pushed wind energy to its limits is a pair of towers that are still in the design phase, called the Gullwing Twin Towers. Instead of simply adding wind turbines to the top of the structure, or a few through the middle, the entire facade is covered in an envelope comprised entirely of small wind turbines. These turbines are not the traditional wheel-like form we have seen in the other designs. Here, the turbines are cylindrical and stick straight out from the massing, making the tower resemble a cacti with all of its needles. In order to make these turbines even more effective, they are attached to the steel grid by hinges in order to take full advantage of the wind in its many directions. The goal for this tower is that it would be completely self-sufficient through the use of wind energy and other renewable sources that would have no external power source. These 4 different projects show the progression of the use of wind energy in the designing of skyscrapers. First, we saw wind energy being pinned to the top of a project in the Blue Sea development. Here, wind power is being tested, like a finger being held up to test the wind direction. Not very risky, but informative. Next, we can see the early attempts of incorporating the wind turbines into the massing of the skyscraper itself in the Strada Tower, or the Razor. With the large wind turbines atop a large, plain rectangular massing, it is a very simple way of incorporating green concepts and reducing the building's carbon footprint. However, the turbines only provided about 8% of the energy needed for the building and was highly criticized for its aesthetics. From there, we see the design develop into a much more sleek and elegant massing in the Bahrain World Trade Center. Here, a more sail-like form is adapted in order to capture and channel the wind into the wind turbines. Pushing the limits of using wind energy and turbines is part not only of the energy-saving system, but also of the massing and aesthetics of the building itself is the Gullwing Twin Towers. Here we see an even more integrated use of wind turbines than ever before. The entire massing of the skyscraper, which is very organic and complex diagrammed pattern, cocooned in a shell made entirely of wind turbines. This progression of wind turbines is being used in architecture is drastic and has happened over a very short period of time. These facts beg the question, what's next? Has the Gullwing Twin Towers pushed wind turbine design to its limits? Or has the Bahrain World Trade Center hit a well-balanced and economic approach, while the Gullwing Towers have pushed it too far? Only the future can tell. However, even if we reach to push the limits of the benefits of alternative energy such as wind turbines and fall short, and the buildings do not function as well as they planned, they will serve as a reminder to following generations to push their technology and creative concepts to the limits. To have tried and failed is better than to shy away and to wander into the land of what if. It is the architecture of the past that was believed to be impossible at the time that has lived on as a constant reminder to the world that ideas, when well conceived and well constructed, can make a lasting impression stretching long into the future. Even if they do not last the test of time, their story acts as an inspiration to continue to pursue that next step into the future of architecture, no matter where that step may lead us.